Hey guys, what's going on? It's Zach back again with another Type R video. If you watched my last video, you would have saw that we installed the United Speed Racing Downpipe. And this added a lot more power to the car. It feels really good. The sound is amazing. But today we are going to be paying a visit to Exact Dyno in Tempe, Arizona. And we're going to be doing some dyno runs to see how this impacted the Type R overall horsepower and torque. We're also going to be doing some dyno runs with Hondata and seeing how that impacts the power of the car as well, and maybe looking at some tunes. So stay tuned and thanks for watching, guys. All right guys, so we just got to Exact Dyno and we just took out the front wheels. About to start up the car and do the first runs. All right guys, so we're about to start our baseline runs, and this base a stock Type R. It's gonna have the United Speed Racing Downpipe on it, so let's see what this feels like. All right guys, so we just did a baseline run with the United Speed Racing Downpipe on here. As you guys can see, the numbers right off the bat, they come back at 313 pounds of torque and 305 horsepower. And Tim was just explaining to me kind of the correcting factor.
Okay, so when we ran this, we're running this with an older SAE correction. It's not the new one that the car is rated with. And this is kind of a big debate with all the dyno shops and people in charts and stuff. So this 305, 306 isn't an apples to apples. What it needs to be rated with is how Honda does it when they say 305, which is this newer one. So when we adapt that, now we have a little bit more realistic number. So that's an apples to apples comparison of wheel horsepower versus crank horsepower. We're using the same correction.
Right on. I'm curious, what type of dyno are you running, and what made you decide to choose this for your shop?
These are the best tuning dynos because we have ultimate control. So obviously we're attached right to the engine. Can't slip. We don't worry about camber. We don't worry about any of that stuff. It can't go anywhere. We could do 1,300 horsepower GTR with a cameraman in front of it and no worries.
That's awesome. Right on, man. Thank you. Alright guys, so we just did the second run on the baseline with the United Speed Racing Downpipe. As you can see, it pretty much came back with similar numbers. Some of you guys that are very technical, Tim was explaining the differences in the air intake temperatures between the first run and the second run.
So what we found in testing a lot of these is that the intercooler is barely adequate. So intake air temp 1 is in the mass airflow sensor. So that's picking up the air before it goes into the turbo. And then we look at intake air temp 2, which is in the manifold like everybody's used to. So that's obviously after the intercooler and the turbocharge, all that. But just sitting here after a run, it's been a good 2 minutes, we've got a 30 degrees C differential. And that's what kills us, is this one.
That's crazy. So 30-degree difference after one run. That's crazy.
would let us have 24 pounds of boost until it got hot. It got hot again at the top end, but because it was so cool, it managed to hold. I think that was maybe its best number.
It's awesome. All right, guys, so we did 4 baseline runs, and something that I learned with this baseline runs is that this car gets hot really quick. This is already pretty known. People were taking it on the track, including myself. You do 1 or 2 laps, and the car is hot. As Tim explained, the intercooler is a really big restricting point for cooling factors. We did 3 runs, pretty much back to back, and then we did a 4th run after letting the car sit for about 10 minutes with the fan blowing on it pretty hard. And whenever it cools down, it runs really smoothly. You hit 24 pounds of boost, which is what we like to hear. We all love boost, right? So next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and run the Flash Pro and get that uploaded and see how that changes the car, guys. All right, guys, so we just finished flashing the ECU. The first tune we're going to do is the 91 octane with the downpipe with the upgraded throttle response. So it's all done. We're going to do the first dyno run here, and let's see what the outcome is. All right, guys, so taking a look here after the first flash, you see it picked up about 60 torque with 5 horsepower. And after looking at the intake temps right here.
So it'll be this one. So we start off with just sitting, so 127, but nothing's really flowing through it. So as you watch, now we're flowing through, the intercooler's doing its job, charge temps coming way down. We're getting close to peak boost. So it looks like 106 is our best number, and then that's where our problem is. We start to climb. And we get as high as 144 by the time we're done.
Wow. So when they're saying that, you know, do a flash, you get 30 horsepower extra, what would be the differentiating, or what's...
If we could keep the intercooler cool. Maybe some ice on it or something, so that not midway it starts to gain temperatures. What we would really want is to hold that 106 or barely pick up to maybe 110, 115. We didn't really want almost a 40-degree differential from coldest to hottest.
Gotcha. One number 2. Here we go.
It's only 111 now. Yeah, 144 again. Huh.
All right, guys, so we have done 4 dyno runs on the Hondata ECU Flash for 91 octane, downpipe, and throttle response. Right off the bat, we gained about 50 more torque right from the get-go, and only about 5 more horsepower from the original baselines that we did earlier in the day. Right now, we're tuning it for boost by gear, if you will, so that way in comfort mode, it's throttled back a little bit more, it's a little more comfortable, not so touchy. And then also in first to second gear, dialing back the torque a little bit so that way it's not so, you know, you're burning through the tires. So, all right, guys, so we just completed our dyno testing with Tim at Exact Dyno. Really gathered a lot of good data for sure. Really saw what was already out there, that the car suffers really bad heat soak. The intercooler is clearly insufficient. You know, it's supposed to hold the temps around 110, 112 degrees, and it actually goes all the way up to 145 degrees after 1 dyno run. And it even goes back up to that after 10 minutes of cooling and having 2 straight massive fans on it. So honestly, I think the front mount intercooler upgrade is going to be the most prevalent, best upgrade you can do. The downpipe didn't really add as much power as, you know, might have expected. And my tuner said, honestly, on these engines, the downpipe isn't really going to change a whole lot. So, but to kind of recap, we start out with a horsepower number of about 290, 288 when the car is running really good and cool, and torque at about 305. And then after the Hondata Flash, we saw 299 horsepower and we saw 350 torque. So awesome torque in the lower ends. It feels amazing, especially in the seat of your pants. It feels great. We also dialed down the torque in first and second gear in sport mode, so that way it wasn't so bad. And then Type R mode or R plus mode, we left it as is, full torque, full horsepower, everything. Comfort mode, we dialed back down the torque, the horsepower a little bit in comfort mode, so that way, you know, it sips fuel a little bit better. You know, it doesn't really motivate me to step on it when it's in comfort mode. I already have almost 11,000 miles on the car. I've had it since August. I do some long drives. So comfort mode, I want it to be more just that. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, go and put them down in the comments. And thanks for watching.